Heyo everybody, Haku here with my read-through for the rest of Magical Girl Raising Project, or Mahou shoujo Ikusei Keikaku Limited, Chapter 6. Sorry this one is so late, really. I had planned, like I said in the first part of the read-through, to go back to doing one on Tuesday, and then one sometime, like, later in the week, finishing the chapter. But I wasn't able to do that. So I came back around to the next Tuesday and I'm like, well, I'll do it then. And then, of course, I couldn't yesterday, so here I am Wednesday recording this and hopefully posting it. Sorry, my hair is a mess sticking straight out away from my head. But yeah, either way, I guess let's go ahead and start reading. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the explanation of why. If you've been following on Twitter or anything, or I think I've probably should have said in Discord too, but yeah, I just really, like, my allergies were at least it might have been a cold, but I'm thinking it was just allergies. But over the weekend my nose was running a lot and I was all stopped up, my eyes were watering, so I felt like that would just kind of be annoying on both me and you to record something as long as a read-through like that, so I didn't record over the weekend to post it then. And then by the time yesterday came around, I had just spent so much time doing a bunch of other stuff that I had to do that I just didn't have time. So yeah, either way, and I don't know what my computer's doing, but sometimes it just acts stupid and makes all this noise. But usually it's not that audible, so hopefully it won't be that much of a problem, and hopefully it stops, like, soon. But either way, let's just read the rest of this. Where are all the characters at, actually? From what we've seen from the first part of this, we're actually getting a lot of mixing from the groups now. Kurukuru Hime was taken by Ripple, whom she met to meet up with, not counting the 4 that are part of Top Pop Pithy's group. I'm not leaving those out. There are 12 characters, not counting Toko, because she's just with Rainbow whenever. So where are those 12 characters? We've got Kurukuru Hime, now, like I said, she's with Ripple, and they are with Mana and nanako-san now. 2 more, Rainbow and Posteri, I believe, were just found by Malpom, so that's 7, and where are the other 5? Oh, we just got done, because I'm at page 21 now. So we just got done seeing Captain Grace. For being a week ago since I read this, I'm doing really well. We just got done seeing Captain Grace and Funny Trick. And they were looking for everyone and went off to go find everyone or whatever. And Hana had captured Wedden, but Wedden was rescued by May. And I think Wedden and May were running away, and I don't remember whether or not Hana caught up to them. So Hana might be alone right now, but I'm not sure. Or she might be with those 2. I'm not sure if she actually caught up to them when they ran away or not. But we'll see next time we cut over to any of that group. So yeah, now we're going to Nanako-san's point of view at 15 hours 52 minutes remaining. The Ribbon Magical Girl introduced herself as Kurukuru Hime. Originally, she was a middle school teacher. She and a few of her students were turned into magical girls by Toko's hands. Although she didn't force the students to go to danger, if Kurukuru Hime were to argue against her, Toko threatened to erase her memories. Rather than making any excuses, it seems she's blamed herself for this incident. While listening to Kurukuru Hime's explanation, some words appeared on nanako-san's goggles display. Have an urgent appearance, but don't blame her. Place your hands on her shoulder and look at Ripple and Mana. Talk to Mana. She followed each instruction clearly, but in the middle of it, it was interrupted. Did the signal that affected the magical phones affect her goggles as well? Or was it because her boss did something, or some remodeling on her goggles? Just because there was a reason for her to believe that, she was a bit frightened. As she felt upset, suddenly new words emerged in her goggles. It looked like they weren't broken at all. As nanako-san's heart felt relief, it was soon drowned back into a sea of misery. There's been a jailbreak, and the magical prisoners have infiltrated B City. The magical girl known as Pithy Frederica is leading the prisoners, and naturally they must have a goal to come here. I don't know if their target is the assassin, the investigation team, or something else, but I know this is going to make B City a more dangerous place to be in. The upper echelons of the Land of Magic military have been keeping watch on this situation. Some have requested that you eliminate Pithy Frederica before the Foreign Affairs Division releases the barrier. Some have even said that it should be your priority, even if collateral damage is unavoidable. Nanako-san didn't remember anyone named Pithy Frederica by name. Her boss's message continued onward. Nanako-san's very not good at remembering people by name. Pithy Frederica was a former scout. Although she wasn't directly involved with her, she was strongly influenced by the forest musician Clanberry. She diverged from her original duties and was arrested on the charges of creating death games for potential magical girls, and she was imprisoned. Thanks to Frederica's magical skill of long-distance monitoring, it said that she knows the Land of Magic's darkest secrets. But still, there was no reason for her to be sentenced to death. Nanako-san had no clue what was going on, but she understood that a very dangerous magical girl had been released. No matter what she thought, this wasn't just information that Nanako-san could handle alone. Still, if someone asked her where she got this info from, she could just answer them directly. Her boss's message continued further. I understand that your magical phones aren't working, but I still don't know the cause for that. It seems that the prisoners have found a way to interfere with the signal somehow. For now, this is your excuse. Before my magical phone stopped working, my boss sent me a text. I just noticed it now. That way you can share this information safely. Ah yes, that was one way to do it. Nanako-san said to everyone, I'm not sure if my magical phone's working, but I'm going to give it another shot for a bit. As she walked away from the group, she took out her magical phone, forged a text message, and faked her surprise at a missing text. Ah, I got a message. While praying that she wasn't found out, she told everyone that she got new information from her boss. Mana rubbed her eyes, which were sore and red from crying, and gritted her teeth. Ripple muttered out, "It's her," with a stiff look. Oh my god, I love Ripple so much. And Pithy just being this annoyance in Ripple's side. Oh my god. Mana heard that and turned to Ripple. Huh? You know her? Ripple nodded. Mana stared at Ripple. What do you mean by that? Frederica. Mana grabbed Ripple's collar, pushing her. Ripple's back hit the iron fence as red rust fell from it. Are you friends with those prisoners? Ripple, I arrested those prisoners. Are you friends with those prisoners? Ripple's back was pounded and hit some dirt. Actually, my friend and I arrested them in the first place. It continued on as Nanako-san tried to stop Mana from closing down on Ripple. If she kept on pushing her near the edge, both of them would fall off. Mana, please calm down. Even if she knows her, it's as an enemy, right? Shut up. So you've arrested Frederica before, right? Then arrest her again now. If Hana was here, this shouldn't be a problem. Mana stopped squeezing Ripple to the edges of the roof and pulled her. Kurukuru Hime looked on with a frightful appearance. At least she thought that she was frightened. Ripple, who had been accused, hung her head down. Even Nanako-san felt sorry for her. Right now, Mana was worried about Hana, and because of that, it was hard for her to stay calm, so she's lost her ability to command the team. With her spirit almost broken, it wasn't out of the question for her to make reckless strategies. Like magical girls, you couldn't tell the age of a mage by their appearance, but perhaps her age was the same as she appeared. Though everyone felt sorry for her, they couldn't just let her make everyone go into a suicide mission. As she looked at Mana, whose tears began to flow again, Nanako-san thought that she wouldn't let her die. And then, more words appeared in her goggles. Frederica has brought along 2 atrocious thugs who have been imprisoned for 300 years. One, dressed in ragged clothing, Sonia Bean. Another dressed like a swordsman, Pukin. Both were imprisoned in the same prison Frederica was in, 300 years ago. They ran amok in England. Their victims were beyond thousands. They remained the worst criminals in the history of the Land of Magic. Even compared to modern magical girls, their combat abilities are top class. Sonia's magical skill is to disintegrate anything she touches, making her an impossible fortress to attack. Pukin's magical skill of controlling the minds of anyone she cuts with her magical sword means her sword has a high level of mental manipulation. So, honestly speaking, though they are like past magical girls that aren't supposedly as good or whatever, Pukin's magical skill is very much like rulers, but like not as good, or like no, a lot better. I was thinking rulers is not as good. So yeah, Pukun's magical skill is kind of the same, only way better. Because it doesn't have as many drawbacks, really. Or at least the drawback it has isn't as significant. Because the drawback is having to cut people for it to work, whereas rulers was having to stand still and point her staff at them for it to work, which is like a lot more big of a problem in a fight, I guess. Especially if there's more than one person. So yeah, Pukun's magical skill is a lot better than rulers, and it's kind of similar. She continued to explain to she continued to explain to them as the words flowed through her goggles. Despite her explanation, a feeling of desperation came over her. These didn't look like opponents she'd be able to fight. Furthermore, Frederica's apprentice, Top Pop. She's known as a revolutionary leader of a militant group. It seems that these four have managed to infiltrate the city. How in the hell did they get in? The barrier hasn't been the barrier's not broken yet. With Frederica's magical skill, she can pass through the barrier, right? Ripple nodded deeply. Nanako-san followed the words in her goggles. So, we have two problems, the assassin and Frederica's group. We have to figure out which one takes priority. Kurukuru Hime nodded deeply. Nanako-san continued to follow the words on her goggles. Frederica's group will cause more harm than the assassin, right? So we should catch them as soon as possible. We should give priority to them more than the assassin. You've got to be kidding me. So what do you think we should do then, huh? Or, at least, maybe that wasn't as angry as I was reading it, but I'm assuming that was Mana talking. But maybe I'm wrong. Somehow we have to join up with Hana. Hana doesn't know about these prisoners that have infiltrated the city. She's in danger. Mana, shit. Mana spat out the words as if she was staring at her feet rather than being calm. It seemed like she was getting angrier. Nanako-san continued to read her boss's message. That's Mana's secret. She's always angry. Also, we have Malpam, the Foreign Affairs Division's final weapon. With Malpam we can win. Since she's the force music... Huh? Nanako-san choked on her words. She looked at Ripple, who was looking down, and she continued. Since Malpam is the force musician Clanberry's mentor. Ripple raised her face. She felt an intense gaze. Ripple's like, and I was friends with this bitch. She felt an intense gaze. She should be able to compete against Frederica's group. Mana raised her chin. She began to open her lips. She looked like she wanted to say something, but only exhaled a deep breath. Nanako-san continued to read the words. The reason we were saving Malpam's power was in case the assassin started to kill people. But if it's not for arresting the assassin, and we use it to subjugate Frederica's group, then that wouldn't be a problem. At the very least, we won't damage the surroundings. Mana closed her eyes. The traces of her tears weren't dry yet. Nanako-san was about to release Mana's arms softly. Kurukuru Hime sighed a deep breath. Mana didn't move. Nobody moved for a few minutes. Nanako-san thought she should do something. We should find Hana first. We should find Hana first. Once we find her, we can look for Malpam. Mana took out her wand. With this, it might be possible to overcome the current situation. Nanako-san appreciated the message that her boss had sent her. And now we're... Hold on, is this a large jump? Hold on, let me scroll up a bit, because it says 16 hours, 30 minutes. That seems like a big jump from where we were. What were we at? We're at 15 hours, 52 minutes. And this is 16:30, so this happened before all of this. Okay. Okay, so Malpam meeting those two happened like nearly, well, not nearly an hour, like 40-ish minutes before. The two magical girls that she caught in the park were complete amateurs, but they didn't seem to be rogues. They weren't obstacles to fight, they were partners to protect. Malpam shouldn't have... I like that we're actually seeing her perspective like this. It might mean Malpam might not be a bad guy. I get kind of the feeling, or at least I've got kind of the feeling the whole time that Malpam was kind of one that might betray them, but maybe not. I mean, just from the design and stuff, I guess. But maybe not. Maybe Malpam is actually a good girl. Malpam shouldn't have smiled at someone in the presence of amateurs. someone in the presence of amateurs. It was her only mistake since she entered the city, and considering the investigation team, they were definitely amateurs. While she was a member of the Foreign Affairs Division, Malpam didn't like their methods very much. She was sent as an external collaborator due to her expertise with violence. With a background in violence, she'd dominate the playing field. Ever since Pam became a magical girl, she hasn't changed. From the outside, looking at the investigation team, she seemed to be just an extra helping hand. Even as a field worker, this wasn't the kind of job that made her heart jump. Though, she was interested in the assassin this time. It wasn't based on justice or ethics. She was curious to see if the assassin would be a powerful opponent. She's been working as a magical girl for a long time, so she knew that she was number one, so she was always curious about any other powerful people. And since she couldn't bear but test that curiosity, it was a problem. Even as a newcomer, even when she was called a veteran, it seems it hasn't changed. When Clanberry's case was revealed, "Ah, I see," is what she thought. Malpam could understand Clanberry's feelings. She just wanted to fight someone stronger. Normal tests were too lukewarm for her, and so her reformation theory was just a pretense for helping her achieve her goals. The essence of the problem was different. Clanberry stepped carefully without getting caught, and since Malpam was bound by things like ethics and affection, she couldn't do what Clanberry did. That was the difference between them. However, despite Malpam's desire to face powerful opponents, she always remembered not to step on those weaker than her. Among Clanberry's students, there should have been many who were weak, and she trampled. It turns out she wasn't compatible with her at all. Okay, so basically showing the difference is that though Malpam wants to face strong enemies as well, she knows the difference between good and evil, and wasn't able to be swayed or manipulated by someone like Fav. Then, where am I? Turns out she wasn't compatible with her at all. Such bizarre thoughts couldn't be transmitted to anyone. Being in the position of the mentor who had given Clanberry the title of Forest Musician, it also meant destabilizing Malpam's position in her organization. Furthermore, it was a long time ago that she was her mentor, so Malpam wasn't actually demoted. As a result, while Malpam was a veteran within a certain degree, when called to work at the forefront, she became a hard-to-handle magical girl. Although she had to reflect on the incident, when it comes to Clanberry, she didn't think there was any other way to educate her. Those who wished to fight would make each other their playmates. Whether they kill or be killed, they'd have no regrets. Even if they have sorrow, it'll only be temporary. Clanberry was the same. She was also her playmate. There was no way of changing her. The problem with Clanberry was that she would forcefully involve the people who weren't supposed to be her playmate for her own enjoyment. Malpam looked back at herself. If she were in Clanberry's position, would she not do the same thing? Probably not. However, she couldn't say that she definitely would not. That's why Malpam wouldn't go against her superior's orders. If she made moves on her own judgment, she might just go on a rampage. Her superiors would definitely have more commanding skill than Malpam, although she didn't think of blindly following them to become just a device. When she remembered Clanberry, she thought to herself, "I have to follow them." This time was the same. Follow the instructions of her superiors, even if she saw their hidden intentions in the instructions. Even if she saw them, she'll pretend not to. She won't inquire about their political dynamics or their string pulling. Even if she decided to act wisely, it doesn't necessarily lead to good results. During the apartment raid, the Arabian dancer flew upwards, and so she was able to escape. She'd completely forgotten that the barrier extended all the way to the sky surroundings. When she began her fight with her strong opponent, she left everything behind and focused only on the battlefield. That's how she was able to survive this far, but in these kind of missions, that could lead to many problems. She chased her enemy, cutting through the thick clouds, and when she was above them, she remembered. She couldn't see it, but she could feel that there was something that would harm her. Then she remembered the existence of the barrier. Suddenly she stopped. In a hurry she looked around, but she couldn't see the Arabian dancer anywhere. She probably touched the barrier and dropped to the ground. She kept searching on the spot for a while. In the end, she couldn't find her at all. Malpam remembered her job and returned to the lower world, and that explains what happened during the fight with all that. Above ground, Malpam recalled her wings. One of them had somehow grown white wings, coming back at tremendous speed. Must be some kind of magic being used. And the other one hasn't returned. Apparently it seems to have been destroyed. So in this battlefield, there was someone who could destroy one of Malpam's wings. That meant they were a considerably powerful enemy. Just thinking about it made her heart excited. She tried to suppress her heart's natural feelings. She split one of her wings and returned her number to the original amount. Just because her upper limit is 4 doesn't mean she couldn't return it to that limit if one was gone. Malpam could freely control her 4 wings no matter where she was. Pam gave each of her wings visual and hearing abilities. Furthermore, she gave them simple intelligence. That way, they could do their own autonomous actions. Their orders: let me know if you find the enemy. If they attack you, then you may counterattack them. In this battlefield, losing would mean instant death. She made one of her wings into a black dress coat which she wore. While being wary of her surroundings, she went to the apartment, where her enemies seemed to be living in. Before heading to the rooftop of the building they set as their emergency meeting location, she wanted to reconfirm the situation. The two magical girls that she found had such timing. Near the apartment, it was crowded with news reporters and bystanders, but in the middle of all that, Pam saw 2 girls making some strange movements. They were restless, looking at the apartment, yet they were careful not to make any noise. Since the 2 of them were wearing school uniforms, they stood out from their surroundings. Most importantly, they exuded an atmosphere of a recently detransformed magical girl. Malpam was worried, and she moved to the ground. Malpam wanted to protect these 2 magical girls, but these 2 might have thought differently. Malpam was angry, but she wasn't angry at these 2. She was angry at Toko, who nonchalantly made them into magical girls without teaching them anything, and threw these children into a war zone. In order for Toko to escape, she made these kids her pawns. What did she think magical girls were? I really like all of Malpam's philosophy we're learning here. It was different when Malpam was working in her special military unit. The newcomers, for better or worse, were politely cute. She remembered when she was active, she taught these 2 magical girls that she knew. The transformed magical girls were like sitting ducks. How dangerous did they think it was? She raised her voice, pulled their cheeks. She taught them politely and carefully. Okay, so yeah, of course, that makes sense. Because think if Malpam was actually a real enemy and she noticed them in that crowd, she could have just killed them then and there. So it sort of is a lesson they need to learn, and makes me wonder, is Rainbow actually really not the assassin like I thought she was this entire time? Am I confused? But we'll see. We'll continue on. It's like the Demon King all over again. She watched hold on, was that a scene break? No, it wasn't. Okay. She watched the 2 girls in front of her as they looked at her with fear. She didn't think she was being hostile with them, though if she looked at them, they've settled in their thoughts. They seemed to be frightened. When she asked them questions, they answered obediently. Then, she thought she could contact her group leader. Malpam operated her magical phone, but when she put it to her ears, all she could hear was static. What's going on? Now, it would be dangerous to have the newbies detransform. It seems like something unexpected has occurred, but since this was something other than the incident, Malpam couldn't grasp what it was. If she carried these 2 around while transformed, she'd stand out. She had no choice. It's weird. The prisoners must have some sort of item, because none of their 4 powers that we know of seem like they should be able to jam their magical phones, Unless it is a traitor somewhere that we don't know their power. But either way, I think we know most of the characters' powers by now, though. Are there any that we don't? Hold on. Let me think for a quick second before I continue on. The investigation group has 4 members, right? We know Nanako-san's, we know Mana's, we know Hana's, and we know Ripple's. And Malpam's, 5 members. So yeah, we know all of them, and then the 7 girls that were just recently transformed, we know Wedden's, unless Wedden made some kind of promise that's somehow doing it, but none that we've seen make any sense to me. Mei, we know her power. We know Captain Grace and Funny Trick's powers. We know Kurukuruhime's powers, or the ribbons, I think. And that just leaves the two that are with Malpom. Rainbow's power we know, Postery's power, yeah, so we know all of their magical skills. So yeah, it must be something that isn't a magical skill, or it's a completely new character. Okay. Then Malpom operated her magical phone, all she could hear was static. Okay, what's going on? Now it'd be dangerous to... Oh wait, I already did that. It'd be dangerous to have the newbies detransform. Seems like something unexpected occurred. This was something other than the incident. Malpom couldn't grasp what it was. If she carried these two around while detransformed, she'd stand out. But she had no choice. Okay. No choice then. Sabbath. Malpom changed two of her wings into coats. They were brown in color, but she changed their texture to fabric. She also added in some buttons and a hood. Wear these. Cover your heads with the hoods. When they wore the coats, they became unnoticeable at first glance. If there was a battle, then these two could be protected by the wings. Doesn't Rainbow have a halo floating around, though? Either way. Then these two could be protected by the wings. While she didn't want to have only half her fighting power, it was much more dangerous if she left these two out here and an enemy comes around. Rainbow looked at the coat with a dumbfounded look. She was hesitant to wear it, so Pom pulled her cheeks. For now, she had to act. Her current target was to meet up with the investigation team. She heard Rainbow mutter to Postery, "What's with this woman?" She pulled Rainbow's cheeks again. She was careful not to neglect her vigilance as she started walking. While she was walking and heard their story, the two girls were taught that the investigation team had an evil witch. Satoko did use them after all. These two attacked the investigation team on the road, and when they were at the apartment, they were also attacked. And although they'd retreated, they wanted to check back what was happening in their apartment, and that's when Malpom caught them. In the end, Malpom didn't know about Ripple or Hana's safety. She also didn't know why she couldn't contact her leader. These two also said that their magical phones weren't working either. Rainbow then said, "What are the chances that they all broke at the same time?" When she said that, Pam hit her. Malpom just completely hitting Rainbow all the time. It's weird, or did somebody have a power that breaks magical phones at once? None of their powers make sense for that to me at the moment. But now we're at Wedden with 16 hours, 11 minutes remaining, so it is still before the message got through to, Nanako-san's group, but it is after what we just read. For now, they had to escape. Or, hold on, what page am I at? Okay. For now, they had to escape. Escape. But they couldn't escape. Can't you go any faster? May cannot go faster than this. Wedden is too heavy. Could you stop saying that? Sharp curves, meandering mountain roads, branching alleyways. Behind a ramen shop, they rolled a bucket and spilled its contents. They blew off the banner of a pachinko store, and yet Rabbit Ears was still following them. Their speed couldn't seem to separate them. Wedden raised her head and looked around her. Rabbit Ears' facial expressions was still the same. Her pace was constant. She wasn't even out of breath. Rabbit Ears' durability isn't going to run out, and even if they could be separated by speed, what are they supposed to do? Ah, I got it. What is wrong, Wedden? Tepsukeme, you can fly, right? Yes, May can fly. Tepsukeme told her that she couldn't fly higher because of Wedden's weight, but she could still float about 10 centimeters off the ground. They've been sliding and moving like this for a while now. All right, head to the harbor. Why? Because then we can go to sea. What is a sea? Do I really have to explain that? How should I say this? In the harbor, there's a really big pool of water. So why are we going there? You can float on top of the water, but you see, she can't walk on water. She'd have to swim. I don't think Rabbit Ears can swim at the same speed that we're going. In that case, we can shake off this hair of Inaba. Wedden praised herself for thinking of this good idea. Tepsukeme shook her head. That is impossible. Why? Last time, May flew higher and higher, then May touched something and fell. Touched something and fell? We have been surrounded. We cannot get out. That is why the sea is impossible. Surrounded. May touched it. Then May was hurt badly. May does not want to touch it again. That's right, she remembered. Toko said something about a barrier surrounding B City, which means they'll have to play tag with rabbit ears inside the city. They couldn't escape through the sea. So how about the rivers? In the city, the amount of large rivers that were flowing were 0. Even if it gets cloudy, it rarely rains. The last time they were flooded with water was last year's summer. What should they do? All of their doors were closed. She didn't know how. Maybe rabbit ears used their magical skill to make Kuru Hime suffer without pain. They could just try to talk. She was originally in a state where she couldn't move her arms and legs. She knew that Tepsukeme was strong, but if they were to fight, there is a possibility of winning. But since she didn't know how the enemy would attack, could they be victorious? She could just stop and negotiate, but her reliability has fallen way below the ground, rabbit ear said so herself. I'm not going to listen to you anymore. No matter how much she used her words, no, whether she spoke or not, those long ears were shut to her. Oi! She heard someone calling out to her. She was surprised. Wedden turned her head, and running just diagonally behind her was another magical girl. Captain Grace! You know, you guys should really make it easier for us to find you next time. The pirate magical girl had an invincible-looking smile. Behind her was Funny Trick, as well as Tepsukeme. Wait, another Tepsukeme? How? May had split into 5 bodies. May wanted to find friends. The Tepsukeme behind Funny Trick made a sharp noise as she became smaller and smaller. Then she disappeared. She remembered that Tepsukeme was able to make clones of herself. She couldn't move them as freely as her original body. She heard that there was only a certain degree of control that she can use them. Ah, so she could use them in this way. Wait, if you could do this, why didn't you just make more back then to earn some time? Because then Wedden would have to fight. Tepsukeme gradually slowed down, finally meeting with Captain Grace and Funny Trick. They stopped in a factory that was said to have crashed due to things the owners couldn't control. In this desolate city, this was the most miserable area. The street lights were cracked. They've been neglected without repair. So we finally meet again. I'm not letting you run a second time. Captain Grace pulled out her cutlass and pointed it towards her enemy. The target of her blade, Rabbit Ears, had a bitter smile. She was disappointed. I see. 4 against 1, huh? Makes me want to contact my group leader. What? 4 against 1? What are you talking about? It's just going to be me against you. Wait, Umi-chan, that's too dangerous, Funny Trick shouted out, and Wedden nodded as well. This isn't the time to look cool. She isn't someone you can take one-on-one. She managed to knock out Kuru Hime, and I still don't know how she did it. We should fight her together. Huh? Kuru Hime? Wait, is she alive? Yeah, she's still breathing. She's just unconscious. Oh, that's good. Alright, one-on-one, come on. Okay, so I guess they still don't know what happened there. Funny Trick shrugged her shoulders. As Wedden sighed, Tepsukeme flew down. Captain Grace was a muscle-brained magical girl. Ah, in that case, I'm grateful for the opportunity. Rabbit Ear's bitter smile turned into a light smile. Captain Grace showed off a huge smile herself. Nobody try to help me. I'll do this clean and quick myself. The garbage pile across the factory began to tremble. Wedden furrowed her eyebrows. There was a hole at the entrance of the factory, which was completely closed off by nailed boards. It was an unnatural-looking hole. It didn't seem to have been destroyed by a punch, nor did it seem like it was broken. It didn't look like it was made by any heavy equipment or chainsaws. The shape of the hole didn't look like it was cut by any of Grace's swords. The hole was 1 size larger than the average human. The edges were dark and peeling off like it was rotten and rusted. Okay, so this is probably Sonia busting in, maybe. The other side of the hole was dim. There was something wandering in. Not even the eyes of a magical girl could see it. A hand touched the edges of the hole. The dark hole fell down to the ground and disappeared, and the owner of the hand appeared in front of the factory. Wedden stopped furrowing her eyebrows. It was a female swordsman. She had bizarre clothing and beautiful features. She was none other than a magical girl. Wedden had no idea what was happening. She simply stared at her opponent's face. She looked at the swordsman as she laughed with her beautifully arranged teeth. The swordsman pulled out the rapier on her waist. If a wild beast were to laugh, surely it would sound like this. Wedden resisted the urge to scream. The swordsman was speaking in a foreign language. A magical girl with a crystal ball then talked. Such a fun game of tag you and I had. I thought I'd drop drop by in the middle and play along. I'll be it, and you all run away from me. That's what Shogun Pukin said. She has a tendency not to forgive those who go against her, so I recommend following her orders. It'd be a shame if anyone were to get hurt, right? Okay, and so that's where we end it. Pukin and Pithy and Top Pop and, well, we didn't necessarily see Top Pop, but we can assume Sonya was there because of the hole. So all of them have now arrived, and I really hope Wedden's group gets it out of this safely. I wish they could have just talked to, I wish they could have just spoken to each other and worked this out peacefully. But yeah, an issue is that, like I brought up in the high Q&A, we're halfway through, and I was expecting this to be like the most harsh and death-filled arc, and there have been none so far, so I'm wondering if this is like literally a chill arc or not. But I kind of hope everyone survives. I like pretty much every character except like Captain Grace. And I mean, I like Pukin, and I like Sonya, and I like that group, but they're the bad guys, so I feel like they're kind of more expendable. But I doubt Pithy's going to die. Pithy's kind of like a recurring character, I feel like. So yeah, I guess we'll see where everything goes in the future, but I enjoyed this chapter, so I hope you liked it too. Like, if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it and all that. Subscribe for more. Magical Girl Raising Project, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there on stuff for the channel. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there, then just ask and I'll give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.